I actually want to go to the end last line in your book, which isn't really a spoiler, so don't worry anybody who's not yet bought the book. It says they're responsible for the cigarettes, but if we're going to zone out and let them rewrite the dictionary, that's not on Philip Morris, that's on us.
Yeah.
So you're very much doing your part to say, well, I've told you, people. If you
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's thanks to the Penguin editors, because I mean, this book's like the most straightforward of my books, because I really consider myself more like driven by storytelling kind of instincts rather than, for instance, activist instincts. Like my last book was about extremists, and it was all about the madness in that world and all the tangles, and how Pauline Hanson 20 years ago, all her supporters were white, but somehow now 20 years later, she's got like Asian Australians and Indian Australians and African Australians as her supporters. And some like bizarre thing, the far right's become multicultural or whatever. And like, I obviously, like a smart aleck like me is like, I really like attracted to all that madness. But like in that book, I didn't really like, how much could I sort of pontificate in that? Like, what am I going to say? Like, hey guys, it's really bad to be racist. Hey guys, like I was so disturbed when I turned up to the rally with the Klansmen and I found out they were racist and whatever. Like, it just like would sound totally lame, and it would like ruin my story. And I'm not going to let Philip Morris or Klansmen kill my story. And so, but with this, because it was like such new material that people have not heard about before, and also I worked out this angle of righteous anger that was tied with why is Philip Morris messing with language? Like, because that's what's interesting about the book, I guess, in some ways, is like this book wouldn't work if the whole thing was like, I'm John Safran and I found out $8 billion of health, public health money is spent on hospital wards for people who've with cigarette problems, and that actual money should go somewhere else or what. Like, people would just go, shut up, John. Like, like what do you like? No one believes that you know any of this stuff, or like you really kind of can process it or whatever. But because it's like was so true, like I'm passionate about language, I could really, for the first time in a book, like have righteous anger and be quite literal about it. Like going, this is screwed up. Like if you can evaporate the meaning out of words, if you can just bend language so nothing means anything anymore, because like everything's subjective and any truth is the truth or whatever, like it's just going to really ruin the world. So and obviously like Philip Morris doing this was like a real great case study in that. So yeah, so this book is like way more, which I think kind of makes it a better book in a way. But and it's quite a challenge for my next book, because it is like my first book where I've like held the reader's hand and like had a sort of like a moral stance that's very literal. But that's really hard it's really hard for me as who I am and who people as a character in my own books to sort of like come up with a righteous anger, come up with a moral thing that isn't totally like lame and isn't like emotionally untrue or whatever. So like, for instance, if I did my next book on McDonald's and said, I'm really upset that the cholesterol levels are rising or something, it's like no one would like go along with it. Like they shut up, John. No one believes that like you're like ruminating, you're anguished about the fact that people have more love handles on them now than they did 10 years ago because of Big Macs. So yeah, so it's going to be quite exciting working out my next book and like working out what the sort of the theme is going to be that sort of like rings emotionally true